This video is going to talk about division with fractional answers. We're going to talk a lot about pies today, so I hope you're not super hungry. 4 people are going to share 7 pies. How many circles should I draw to represent how much food is going to be split up? Well, there are 7 pies, so I'm going to draw 7 expertly drawn pies. And of course, those look wonderful. Now, 4 people are going to split these pies. The problem is all these pies come in different flavors. So everybody wants a fair share of every single flavor of pie, which means each pie is going to be split into 4 pieces so that 4 people can each take a piece of each pie. That means that one person is going to get a slice of this pie, a slice of this pie, a slice of this pie, and this pie, and this pie, and this pie, and this pie. Now, if we were to take out pies of different types and put each person's pies into a combined container, which is probably not okay because it's mixing food, but for the purpose of the problem, 4 pies together, these would all fit in one pie tin. You could fit this fourth and this fourth and this fourth and this fourth together in one tin. That would make one whole pie. So you would have one whole pie, a leftover pie essentially, and then you'd also have 3 parts left. And those 3 parts, to make a whole, you would actually need 4 parts. So this would leave you with 1 whole and 3/4 of another full pie. Let's talk about what happens when 4 people share 2 pies. This means I'm going to have 2 pies. 4 people are going to split these pies. So I'm going to split it into 4ths again. This means that there are 2 pies, and I, because this is all about me, am getting 1/4 of each. 2 times a 4th. 2/4, because you put 2 over 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 4 is 1. 2/4 would be the same as 1/2 of a pie. So added up together, I would get 1/2 of a pie. If 4 people share 5 pies, that would be 5 circles. Each pie still split into 4ths, which means there are 5 pieces that I'm getting, and I'm getting 1/4 of each. When I put 5 over 1, because that's how you turn a whole number into a fraction, 5 times 1 is 5, 1 times 4 is 4. So this means that these 4 pie slices will make 1 whole, and I'll get 1/4 of a pie as well. So my total pie that I'm walking away with is 1 and 1/4. Let's talk about 2 people sharing 3 pies. This would be 3 circles, but now there's only 2 people sharing it, so I don't have to cut it up into 4ths anymore. Now I can just cut it into halves, which means I'm getting more pie, which is very exciting. So I'd get this, and this, and this. So that's 3 pies, and I'm getting half of each. So that would be 3 over 1 times 1/2, or 3 over 2. I don't know what happened to that number. These 2 pies together make 1 whole, and I also have this half, which puts me at 1 1/2. We can also look at 2 people sharing 5 pies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we're splitting them in halves, which means there are 5 pies, and I'm getting half of each. Put 5 over 1. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. These two make one whole together. These two make one whole together, and there's a half here. When I add up 1 plus 1 plus half, I'm going to end up with 2 and 1/2. 2 1/2. So remember that division is used for equal sharing. If 2 people share 6 pies, how much does each person get? Rather than drawing out 6 pies and splitting each one in half, we can look at this a different way. We can look at this as 6 divided by 2 equals 3, because we're going to start off with the 6 pies, or the circles, and then talk about how many times I'm splitting that circle up. So in this problem, it would be 3 pies divided up by 4 people. 3 pies divided by 4 people, well, let's take a look at that. 1, 2, 3 pies split into fourths. Each person would get 1/4 of each pie. That's 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, or 3 times 1/4. 3 over 1 times 1/4, or 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, is 3/4, which, oddly enough, is what I just wrote right here. Because remember that the fraction bar means divide. This says 3 divided by 4. 3 divided by 4 equals 3/4. Simple as that. The number of objects being divided goes first. So start off with what you have, which is the number of pies. The number of people sharing goes second. How many groups are you making it into? That goes second. The answer is how much each person gets. The answer is a fraction, not a whole number with a remainder. We're too old for remainders. Let's write a division equation showing 5 people sharing 2 pies. Well, we're going to start off, instead of drawing 2 circles for 2 pies, I'm just going to say 2 pies divided into 5 people. So I'm going to split each of these pies into 5 pieces. Or I can also say 2 pies divided by 5 people. You're going to get 2/5 of a pie. Let's check. 1 pie, 2 pie. Now my fifths are not going to be exact, but you'll get the idea. Split into fifths each. That's not into fifths, but whatever. I'll just take a big piece. Nobody will notice. That means that I would get 2/5 of a pizza. You can just say 2 divided by 5. 2 divided by 5. It's the same thing. So let's write these as a division statement. 5 people sharing 3 pies. That means 3 pies, you can see the 3 circles, divided by 5. Or you'd get 3/5. 5 people sharing 4 pies. That would be 4 pies divided into fifths, or 4/5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. There's a joke in there about red fifth, blue fifth, but that has too much to do with fish and Dr. Seuss. 6 people sharing 3 pies. 3 pies divided by 6 people equals 3/6. Fun fact, you can also simplify that by dividing by 3 over 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And look at how 1, 2, 3/6 equals the 1/2. 6 people sharing 4 pies. That's 4 pies divided by 6 people equals 4/6. You can simplify this by 2 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And let's look at how 1, 2, 3, 4/6 is the same thing as saying 2/3. They want you to predict these answers without using a picture. Oh boy. I'm going to give you I'm not going to give you any time. You're going to pause. You're going to look this over. Shouldn't take you more than a few seconds. Let's talk about it. 5 divided by 7 is going to be 5/7. 4 divided by 9 is going to be 4 divided by 9, or 4/9. 3 divided by 8, you guessed it, 3 divided by 8, or 3/8. Simple as that. The first number in the division is the top number of the fraction. The second number in the division is the bottom number of the fraction. Whoa! They want you to divide and write your answer as a fraction. All this means is write out the fraction form of this division problem. Go ahead and give it a shot, and then we'll talk about it. Welcome back. 3 divided by 10 is the same as 3/10. 4 divided by 7 is the same as 4/7. 8 divided by 9 is the same as 8/9. 7 divided by 8, 7/8. 13 divided by 1,000, 13 over 1,000. 3 people are sharing 5 apple pies. How much does each person get? Well, we know that there's going to be 5 pies. And it's going to be split into perfectly equal, I don't know what that is, perfectly equal thirds. And of course, those are perfectly equal. If I shade in a third each, I'm going to end up with 5/3. Let's figure out what this would be as a mixed number. Well, I know that 3/3 makes 1 whole. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. This is 1 whole right here. And then I have 1 2/3 left over. So my answer, 5/3, is the same thing as 1 2/3. Let's go ahead and look at other examples. We're probably not going to show as many pictures, but we'll think about it. 9 divided by 4 is 9/4. Now, I know that it takes 4 pieces to make a whole, and I have 9 of them. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, which means I can get 2 wholes out of this 9, and I'll still have 1/4 left over. Not sure? Let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we split these all into a fourth, and continue to split, and now we color in the fourth. Hello. Color, color, color. There we go. Continue to color in that fourth. We can see that it takes 1, 2, 3, 4. These together make 1 whole. 1, 2, 3, 4. These together make 1 whole, which means I have this 1/4 over here that's refusing to be colored. There are 1/4 left over. So that makes 2 1/4. Let's look at 7/2. 7 over 2. How many times does 2 go into 7? I could draw out a picture. Another method of doing this is to make the L and divide. So this L is like a division sign. The 7 is on the inside, so I'm going to put 7 on the inside here. 2 is on the outside. 2 goes into 7. 2 times 3 is 7, which means 2 times 3 is 6. There'd be 1 left over. This 1 is not a remainder. This 1 is going to go all the way up into the numerator. And our denominator is still going to be 2. 7 over 2 is the same as 3 1/2. Let's look at 6 over 4. 6 divided by 4 is 6 over 4. I'm going to make my life easier here. I'm going to simplify first because I know that 2 goes into 6 and 2 goes into 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I now have 3 halves. How many wholes are in 3 halves? I can get 1 whole out of that and still have a half left over. I'll show you making the ln dividing. 3 on the inside, 2 on the outside. 2 times 1 is 3, left with 1. This 1 goes all the way up in the numerator, making it 1/2. What about 15 over 8? Let's talk about 15 divided by 8. That one maybe I don't know right off the top of my head, so I'll go ahead, I'll make the L. 15 on the inside, 8 on the outside. 8 goes into 15. 8 can only go into 15 once, which means 1 times 8 is 8. 15 minus 8 is 7, which means because I'm out of numbers here, this 7 is going to be in the numerator and 8 in the denominator. 15 over 8 is the same as 1 7/8. Let's say 4 people are sharing 11 granola bars. That's 11 divided up by 4 people. How much does each person get and how many are left over? Granola bars are pretty much all the same. I mean, they're not, but in this story they are. Which means, why am I going to split up each granola bar into fourths? That just seems silly. Instead, I'm going to circle 4, and I'm going to say everybody gets 1 out of this group. I'm going to circle the next 4, and I'm going to say everybody gets 1 out of this group. So I would get this granola bar, and I would get this granola bar. So I know that so far I'm getting 2 granola bars. Wow! But then there's 3 left over, and there's 3 granola bars for 4 people. So for that, I'll probably split these into fourths. And I'll get this much, and this much, and this much, and that would leave me with 3 fourths. So that's 1 whole, 3 fourths. 1 plus 1 plus 3 fourths is 2 3 fourths. Or 11 fourths is the same as 2 3 fourths. Instead of dividing each granola bar into quarters, we just had to divide the remaining 3. So let's go ahead and let's look at this page. 5 people are sharing 12 granola bars. How many granola bars does each person get? Well, that's 12 divided by 5. And I know that 5 can fit into 12 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10, which means there's still 2 parts left over, which means everybody will get 2/5 of that. Let's talk about 3 people sharing 16 pounds of rice. There's 16 pounds of rice split up amongst 3 people. Which means, how many times can I get a full pound of rice out of that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's 5 times. And 15 is 1 away from 16, so that's 5 1/3. 4 people sharing 9 pounds of flour. If I start off with 9 pounds of flour, and I split it amongst 4 people, 4 times 2 is 8. I get 2 whole pounds out of that, and there's still 1 pound left over to split amongst 4 people. So 2 1/4 is how much flour I'll get. Ladies and gentlemen, have an absolutely beautiful day.